Imagine we are infected with a powerful pathogen such as bacteria, virus, fungus, or even cancer. Those foreign matters and pathogens need to go through many defenses in our body before successfully infecting our body. They need to go through the skin, mucus, complements and phagocytes, which are the part of innate immunity. However, sometimes, some pathogens are too strong for those defenses. Macrophages and neutrophils can get overwhelmed by powerful bacteria or viruses after infection happens for a few days. Maybe the communication in the immune system is not fast enough, or the pathogens have developed some strategies to win against the immune system. Therefore, these phagocytes need to signal to ask for other immune cells to come to rescue. Immune cells originate in the bone marrow. An important immune cell is called dendritic cells, which are located near the surfaces of the body, such as in the epithelial layer of the skin, lungs, nose, stomach, intestines and in the mucus. They travel to the immune cell's graveyard where there are corpses of bacteria, viruses or other pathogens. Its main function is to collect fragments of the pathogens which are considered as antigens. Antigens are the substances that the immune system detects as foreign, and they can induce various immune responses. Antigens could be from the toxic molecules or the fragments of pathogens. Dendritic cells will capture those antigens and transport them to the lymph nodes, which are located in 600 different places all over the body. In the lymph nodes, there are specialized immune cells called T lymphocytes or T cells, which differentiate into various types of T cells upon activation or signaling. Dendritic cells can present the antigen to a type of T cell called helper T cells on the receptor called MHC class II for observation and to come up with a tool for defenses. This activates the helper T cells to replicate itself to thousands in a few minutes, and then start its work more vigorously. They can travel to the infection site and activate the weak macrophages to become stronger to kill the pathogens more easily. On the other hand, there is another type of immune cell called B lymphocyte or B cell. This cell presents in the bone marrow where they can be signaled by the cytokines. Once signaled, they migrate into the bloodstream, then to the infection site, and when they encounter a pathogen or antigen, they can sometimes swallow the pathogen just like a phagocyte. This action also activates B cells to produce more cytokines to signal other immune cells, or they can produce specialized proteins called antibodies. Antibodies are 5 types of proteins that have 3 main activities. If they are bound to a bacteria on the receptor, they can then bind to various complement proteins and result in more activations of many other complement proteins that can lead to the killing of the pathogens. They can allow phagocytes such as macrophage and neutrophil to easily find, swallow and digest them. This process is called opsonization. Antibodies can also bind to viruses in order to neutralize them, and also allow immune cells to easily kill them. The work of B cells can be enhanced even more when they encounter helper T cells, as they signal the B cells to multiply numerously to fight the pathogens even more. If B cells are not activated by helper T cells, they will die in a day. After a few days, if the immune system hasn't won the fight yet, the infection might get serious. A lot of viruses successfully hijack the body cells in order to breed more viruses while killing the body cells, or they can inject their DNA in order to create cancer cells. Bacteria, on the other hand, when there are so many of them, they can interrupt cellular functions, or they can release toxins to kill the body cells. In this case, the immune system must find a way to kill those infected cells so that the infection doesn't spread to other places. Each cell in our body has the ability to take some antigens to be presented on its surface. The thing is, T cells do not only develop into helper T cells, but when a dendritic cell presents an antigen to a T cell, the T cell will develop into killer T cell or cytotoxic T cell, whose job is to hunt any infected cells that has that specific antigen on the surface. So thousands of killer T cells are replicated and travel to the infection site to search for the specific antigen on the cell's surface, and when killer T cells encounter it, it can release granules into the infected cell to kill it. When the immune system wins over all the pathogens, T cells and B cells kill themselves, and some become memory T cells and memory B cells that can stay for decades, so that when the same pathogen enters the body again, the memory cells will signal the immune system to get rid of the pathogen much faster. This is the main concept of the development of vaccination. The main idea of the vaccine is to inject a small amount of antigen that represents a pathogen, enough so that it triggers the T cells and B cells to develop memory cells to prepare for the real pathogen. The antigens in the vaccines are usually created from parts of the pathogen, and it is not enough to cause infection in our body. Killer T cells can evolve into natural killer cells, which is a better version of it, and leave from adaptive immunity into the innate immunity that keeps protecting our bodies against viruses and cancer. They can efficiently kill infected cells or cancerous cells without being specific with antigens. Basically, healthy cells usually have a protein called inhibitor present on a receptor called MHC class I. If a cell has a lot of them, natural killer T cells will not kill the cell, otherwise, it will induce apoptosis. To keep in mind that the immune system actually works by chance. This is related to the fact that random mutations happen on the genes that code for the production of the receptors on those immune cells. Those random mutations can result in a wide variety of different receptor shapes and specificities, allowing the immune system to be able to bind and respond to a vast variety of potential pathogens. In conclusion, adaptive immunity is the immunity that keeps getting upgraded throughout our lives. As we are exposed to different threats and survivals, adaptive immunity becomes greater. However, it is worsened during old age. That's why young and elderly people are more susceptible to sickness. Adaptive immune system is the body's ability to recognize and remember specific pathogen, allowing for a faster and stronger response upon subsequent exposure. This type of immunity is controlled by T cells and B cells, which upon activation, they multiply themselves and differentiate into other specialized immune cells to target the pathogens. It is without question an extremely complex and busy network in our body. Thanks for watching.